And he's loose again. Edwards off the running. Pumped it back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Marlon Williams. Goes for the three. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome into the Gridiron Uncensored. Yeah, Trevor, I did it this time, boy. I fucked up. But either way, welcome into the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. And for those Kansas State fans, it's not the whiskey tonight. I'm just excited about your team, and I didn't want to blow the beginning, but I did earlier.
Lies.
It happens sometimes. All right, either way, that's part of showbiz. Anyway, Kansas State, you guys got things going for you. And we're excited to talk about this team and what, a lot of Kansas State fans are hoping for a Big 12 title push. So let's get into it, Trev, and see what this team can do. But again, before we look forward, we got to look back just a little bit.
That's right.
And that's 2024 Kansas State schedule. And, when you look at what this team had coming into the 2024 season, a lot of them were excited. They thought, again, that they could probably push for that, the Big 12 slot. But an early loss to BYU really got kind of ugly game. And then you rebound, you go beat up on a rough Oklahoma State team, knock down Colorado, West Virginia. Of course, you beat Kansas. I know it's tight, but you still got the dub. And then you lost to Houston, which was going through some rough, season themselves. So that I know that loss right there was probably the biggest stinger. Arizona State at the time, they were on a roll. They're a good-looking team at that time. So that one shouldn't sting as much. And then Iowa State, of course, you hate losing, Farmageddon there. But you did finish off with a nice bowl win against Rutgers. But now we move into 2025 because obviously this doesn't matter anymore. And you look at, what Kansas State has coming back, what this team went and did in the portal, coaching staff-wise. Trev, coaching staff-wise, not much. Just
not a whole lot.
They're ready to roll into 25. They want to get 24 behind them.
Yeah, honestly, they obviously promoted Matt Wells to offensive coordinator, quarterbacks, and associate head coach this offseason. And they brought in Nate Kaiser, I think, is now the special teams coordinator and special assistant to the head coach. And Matt Cardolis, assistant safeties coach, and Sean McGuire, assistant quarterbacks coach, and a few other position coaches. But the really big takeaway is that they promoted from within to the offensive coordinator position, which is always usually ends up very well. It doesn't. There's very few cases where I can say that it promoting from within the system from coaches that the players already know doesn't actually work out for you. Like I can't think of a scenario where it didn't really work out.
Yeah,
or the transition wasn't an easy one.
For the most part, you like the continuity of staff.
Right.
Sometimes obviously it may not, it doesn't, but recently I feel like it's been doing a pretty good job at keeping teams where they were or maybe pushing them to that next level.
That's right.
So Kansas State, they're one of those when we talk about things that when we look at contenders for the conference championship, the playoffs, do they have continuity of staff? Do they have, veteran quarterback, schedule, and then, returning production, good production? The four things that we usually look at. And right off the bat, I mean, returning production, they have 67% returning production. That's 14th in the country. Their S&P Plus rating, they're 18th in the country. Portal-wise, 55th. So there's just a couple of numbers for you. And right off the bat, they're looking like a team that is going to push it. Vegas already has their odds up to 8. They have the 8.5 is the over-under. And we'll talk about schedule here in a little while. But we talk coaching changes, portal side, 16 in, 27 out. And, really it's the 27 out. Nothing really jumps off the board as a crazy loss outside of Carver, Willis and Trey Spivey. I'm sorry. But it's one of those things that again, I mentioned in the last one, the ins outweigh to me the losses on this team. And you look at, some of these guys, uh, coming in. Gabe Irvin is one, Gabe Powers, a couple of the guys up front of the line. Fortenberry is another one at cornerback that I kind of look at as somebody that can step up. Jay Sean Ross coming in from Bama. Guys coming in from Penn State, Ohio State, which is a big one. George Fitzpatrick on the offensive line. That's who you need to step up to really get this team over that hump of 9 wins and maybe get them in that 10-11, winning the Big 12 championship.
Absolutely.
Have anything on the portal that sticks out to you, buddy?
Portal, not so much. I mean, obviously, I like the OU pickup from Jaden Rowe at the corner position, also to pair with Fortenberry coming in. So it's a couple good, solid corners coming in, and I'd be remiss in not mentioning the fact that that for the first time, I don't remember if they got one last year, but I'm pretty sure they didn't get one this good, and that they got basically the best tight end in the country as a freshman. So, I mean, that's good. They held serve and kept a 5-star best tight end in the country coming to Kansas State in Lincoln Cure.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty darn big. I mean, 6'5", 223 as a freshman. You can only get better from there. If he's got good ball skills, I would imagine that he's going to get time this season.
Oh,
if
yeah.
if I was to guess.
Yeah, and this team already has, a good quarterback. We everybody knows Avery Johnson, right?
Yep.
Last year, 2,700 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He also had 7 rushing touchdowns. So that's great production on the offense, and it's what you bring back around him. And one guy, from the portal on that side, of the offensive side, Jerron Bradley is somebody that huge body, 6'5", 222. And when you look at his stats over, last couple of years, 2022, he had 51 receptions for 744, 23, 36 for 431. And then last year, 6 for 94. So it's going down, but you're looking at it's Boston College. Things were, kind of in flux with quarterback position. There was games where he only had 1 target, or some had none last season.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in this new position with a quarterback that we know can throw the ball, has been accurate. So maybe look for this to be a big season for him to kind of get that bounce back into, hey, maybe he can get those 40 targets, and we'll see what happens. They also have Dylan Edwards returning on offense, and he had a huge bowl game when he was the main guy. So you're looking at weapons out wide for this team, weapons at the tight end position. Offensive line comes back, even though it's got some question marks because they lost some guys. They also brought in some nice bodies too from the portal. Trevor, this offense should be rolling right again, and I don't think it's going to be a problem moving the ball.
No, I don't. I feel like that most of the teams that they're going to be playing, and we'll go over the schedule here in a little bit, that they'll be able to compete and potentially overpower. And we've been saying it all through these, season previews, is that we've been basically saying that if you can win at both of the lines of scrimmage and you are solid at both lines of scrimmage, front 7 on the defensive side, the front 5 or front 6, or however many offensive linemen you want to throw up there, they are all solid. You got good pass protection. I mean, it really is a simple game when you just if you can win at the line, you will win ball games. The skill positions or whatever is great to have them, and having a decent quarterback, which you do right now. The most important thing right now is going to be your offensive line, in my opinion. I think the defense is going to be fine. I really do. But that offensive line, I feel like, needs to prove itself this season by controlling that line of scrimmage every single possession.
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned it. We talk about it every time. You've got to control the ball. You got to control time of possession. I know a lot of coaches maybe don't feel that way anymore, but I kind of think it's making a comeback of you've got to control the football. And all this high-flying offense is great, but if you don't give your defense a time to breathe, if you don't choke away some of that clock, it doesn't matter how many points you might score, how many yards you get on a drive if you don't capitalize.
Exactly.
And Kansas State's got to be able to do that this season. And we mentioned some of the big guys coming in up front. It just depends on how well they gel. But I think it's possible for this team to keep it rolling. We mentioned Dylan Edwards. He's a guy that's going to have to really step up again. He did it in the bowl game. Now that he's the head guy, can he do it week in and week out? We'll see. Another one mentioned, I didn't mention him yet. Excuse me. It was Jerron Tibbs coming over from Purdue. Another 6'3" body, 214, at least per 24/7 numbers. So you're talking you got a 6'5" wide receiver, you got a 6'3" receiver, plus whatever you already had coming back. Again, you had 67% returning production. This offense, if the offensive line is there and they gel, it should be one of the best in the Big 12.
Protection will be key for Avery.
Yes.
And if he can get more than 3 seconds, if he can get 3 seconds in the pocket, I think they will do great. If he can't have 3 seconds, I just think he's gonna get to him a bit. They're gonna try and get to him for sure, because he did show signs of getting rattled. If they were starting to get into he showed signs that he was getting rattled last season, and a few teams did get to him, but I think the offensive line definitely seems to be a priority for them this offseason, and it shows in the transfer portal.
Absolutely. And it's one of those, you mentioned the Arizona State game. He threw 2 picks. Houston threw 2 picks. So that's, even the BYU loss, 2 interceptions. So those are the games that they're getting that rush after him. They're getting that. How does he grow from the last season into this one? Obviously, it's not just a him problem. They had some other issues going on. But if this line does what they think it can do, he has that time to step up and get the accuracy back down, because he was only throwing it at 58%.
It was something not ideal for a power 4 quarterback.
You get that up into 60, 62, 63, somewhere in there. Okay, you're going to win a couple more games.
And let's just dial it down from 2 interceptions to 1, and you'd be. I mean, even that. But ball protection, protecting the ball, protecting your possessions and not giving possessions back to the other team is huge. It is literally the cornerstone of any quarterback's job, is to make sure you don't turn the ball over. Yeah. And the only thing the quarterbacks can control is if they're throwing interceptions.
Yep.
And he was. At the end of the day, he was.
And it's still 25-10 is not bad, but you want to see that number like 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there for the season.
I would say a solid improvement in this case would be probably a 5.
Yeah, I mean,
no more than 5 interceptions on the season. And if he does 5 or less, they are in the playoff.
Yeah, I agree.
Guaranteed. I'll put that on paper. If he's at 5 or less interceptions on the season, they will be in the playoff.
This team has what it takes to get there. And again, now we talked some defense. We talked the offensive front side. Defense, this is where you've got a couple of holes, but there's guys with experience from inside the team that are going to be able to plug immediately. And then also some of these transfers that we mentioned. An interesting one is Maldonado. He's coming over from Arizona, and he was injured last year. And that's somebody that, in 2023, he had a nice season for Arizona. So if he can step in at safety, that's a nice pickup. Just how does he recover from that injury? And then, you talk about Gabe Powers. We mentioned him earlier, stepping in at linebacker. So there's guys all around this defense that are going to step in, but they already have people too. It's not like it's a bare cupboard. This team has players ready to rock and roll, and they know this pace of play in the Big 12. They know what they need to do to take it to that next level. It's just, can they do it? Defensive backside, same thing. Some corners coming in, from the portal that we've mentioned. It's just, I think this team is solid. It's just how those little holes, do they mesh well with what was already on the team? Do the portal guys fill in nicely? Trev, anything on the defense that sticks out to you?
I mean, I thought they did a good job. I like the fact that they went and got a couple decent power 5 corners or power 4 corners.
Mhm.
But like I've said this before in episodes previously, Brendan, is that if you're not focusing on the front 7,
Mhm.
you're making a mistake in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because like we've said in previous episodes, it's a lot easier to replace corners and safeties. Not saying that there's a lot of elite safeties out there for you to get, but serviceable, solid corners and safeties are available every single year.
Yeah.
Solid and dependable linebackers and defensive linemen are not. They are in short supply. So that's why I say that if you in I want to say their defensive front 7 focus, I feel like wasn't all the way there this offseason.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of one of those things I'm going to pay attention to this season on how well that front 7 handles I mean, I don't want to say the lack of depth, but when you're not adding more pieces but you're losing pieces on the defensive side, then you're obviously losing depth. I mean, that's it's a simple numbers.
Yeah. And
But yeah,
again, luckily what they lost, they did lose numbers. Like we're not going to kid ourselves, but
Yeah.
they bring back a lot of the talent that was on that team last year that won the 9 games. If they can just fix those little bitty things, the protection, up front, getting more pressure and helping that way, then this team will be right in that mix again. 9-10 wins. Mentioned 8.5 is the over under, and based on 2024 again, it left some to be desired. Let's look at the 2025 schedule, Trev, and see if this team can get over that 8.5 mark, get the 9-10. And they're hoping for 11. They want to go to the playoffs this year. They feel like this team with Avery Johnson as a veteran, he's not a young guy anymore. He's been around. They want him to lead this team to the playoffs. Do you think they can do it? You got the first one, Farmageddon in Ireland, which is a wild game. And then
that's
go play
crazy.
I know. Ireland's going to get a dose of the farm guys, baby. I love to see it. The big old corn feds out there, man. And then you got North Dakota. You play Army, Arizona. Looking at it initially, Trevor, I think the schedule is much more favorable than some of the ones that we've seen in the Big 12.
It is.
What are your thoughts on it?
I don't have them running into any problems until end of October, when they play Kansas at Kansas. I don't have them having any problems, and then it becomes a problem.
I knew you were gonna say it. For our buddy, good friend of ours is a
slime ball. The slime ball himself.
They call him a slime
ball. They call him a slime ball.
No, it's an inside joke. You'd have to be there. But either way, so when you look at Kansas, they are retooled. They're excited about this season, but Kansas State has their number, man. Can Kansas finally do it? I don't know.
And the reason I say it's not just because it's Kansas, guys. I promise. I'm not throwing shade. I promise. Well, I'm not throwing much.
Just a little.
Just a little. But it's also because you're doing Kansas and then Texas Tech.
Sure.
Who will also be very improved just by the simple portal guys that they brought in on top of what they were already returning. You have a week off, and then you go Oklahoma State, who will be improved. Utah, who should be improved with a different look, with a more mobile quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So the last 4, I don't really care what Colorado says they're going to be, but whatever. That you guys will win, I promise. And you better, by the way.
If you know.
You better. I will never say you're going to have a winning season again if you lose to Colorado. But no, I think the last back half of the schedule is a little bit more rough than some might think, because even though you have a break in between Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, that's still a rough 4 games. We'll say 4 games in a 5-week stretch.
Yeah.
That's still pretty rough in my opinion. So if you guys can be undefeated going into that, I like your guys' chances, because at that point you probably have your offense figured out, your defense figured out, and you're going in with confidence to the Kansas game, and you're coming off a bye week, which is great.
Yeah, when I look at the schedule, Iowa State obviously good last year, but they've lost some pieces. We haven't gone over them yet, so I'm not gonna say it's an automatic win, but that's an interesting game overseas. You better win that game if you're Kansas State.
Have
That'll
to start
change
the
so
season off
much
right.
of your trajectory. North Dakota, that's a win. Army, they lost a ton. It's obviously hard to play academies, especially week 3 after you've traveled and all this other stuff. But at least it's in Kansas. And then you play Arizona, which is retooling. They still have Fafita. But how good is that team going to be? I don't know. You should, to me, the first 4 games, you should win all of those. UCF, that should be a win. Baylor, I think, is trouble this year. This Baylor team is looking to be really good. So that one in McLean Stadium in Waco, that's one that needs to be circled if you're a Kansas State fan. TCU as well. They've got good quarterback play. They've got good guys out wide. That's something you need to watch for. So to me, it's that middle 4 from October 4th until November 1st. That is a stretch that will make or break your season. If you come out of that first, like Trevor mentioned, the first 6 games, that bye week before Kansas, and you're undefeated, you better knock Kansas off, because they're going to be out for blood. They're going to want to break the streak, all this stuff. And then you got Texas Tech looming right behind them. So you guys better be ready. Oklahoma State, I still think they're going to need a little time. Colorado is the same way. They could be dangerous depending on what quarterback starts. Utah, I like them a lot, what they're doing. I like Dampier. So it's tough, because just we mentioned it every single time on these Big 12 previews. There's so much parity in this conference. It just depends on what team shows up. And Kansas State, your fans, your team is preaching that you're going towards the playoffs this year. You're going in the Big 12 title race.
And I tend to agree with that sentiment. If, and that's a big if, you can walk through the first all the way to Kansas undefeated. Yeah. If you can't, then you're in trouble. That's all I'm going to say to that. The Big 12 has got a rough deal, because a lot of these other teams in these other conferences may be undefeated or just a 1 loss, where I feel like Big 12 might come out, Big 12 champion might still have 2 losses. It's a possibility.
They're going to eat themselves alive like they did last year too.
Yep.
Arizona State came out, pretty much unscathed, but let's see if Kansas State can do it this season.
That's right.
Over under, Trev, you going over or under?
I'm sorry, what was the numbers on that? Over
8.5.
8.5. Yet. Hang on. Uno momento. I'm bringing it back up.
I see 9. I at least 9. I see it.
I got 7.
Yeah, I'm taking the over. I'm going to say 9. 9 at a minimum.
Yeah, I'm going to take 9. I'll take 9. I don't think. Well,
maybe. Yeah.
I'm going to go 10.
Oh.
I'm gonna say Kansas State's gonna get a 10-win season out of the season.
Look at that.
Yeah, I know it's stupid.
Look at it.
It's stupid. I know.
Hey, no, I'm
an optimist.
I respect it. The team's obviously got talent. You're upgrading and the quarterback position's getting a year older. Plugging in solid pieces. We'll see if they gel. If they do, this team should contend for the playoffs.
I really think they have enough pieces. They definitely have the quarterback, if he progresses to the next level of progression, that he should.
He should.
And the offensive line is improved and gives him time. I expect the defense to hold serve most games.
Yeah.
But they can't have slip ups where they get blown the bleep out and just get taken to the woodshed.
Yeah.
That's not a thing that's going to be able to happen to the defense this season.
Agreed. So you guys let us know what you think, Kansas State fans. What are you feeling? You feeling playoffs or bust type thing here with the veteran quarterback? Kleiman's a great coach. I think he's got a lot of trust. I trust what he can do in his development. Kansas State always develops well. Plus, add in some good pieces from the portal with what you've been developing in your recruiting classes. This team should be right in that same realm, 9-10 wins. And if things go right, they can push for the playoffs. But you can't slip up, especially early in Ireland. Again, you guys let us know what you think. Shoot us a comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. We appreciate your time, and let us know again what you guys think. Trev?
Yep. Like, follow, and share this to all your friends so we can get more engagement too.
Exactly. Let us know. We want to learn from the fans. Again, we're outside looking in. We want to know what the hell you guys think. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you around. Look forward to your
Take care.
comments. Good night.